And shifting our focus, U.S. President Donald Trump has urged Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to move swiftly in negotiations with Russia as diplomatic efforts to end the war continues.
Well, Zelensky's going to have to get moving. Russia wants to make a deal, and Zelensky's going to have to get moving. Otherwise, he's going to miss a great opportunity. He has to move.
Russia and Ukraine have already held 2 rounds of U.S.-mediated peace talks in Abu Dhabi, resulting in their first prisoner exchange in 5 months. The Kremlin has now announced that the next round of negotiations will take place in Geneva on February 17th and 18th. However, Washington's representative to NATO, Matthew Whitaker, said he believes Ukraine is prepared to agree to a reasonable and fair deal, but expressed doubt that Russia is ready or even willing to reach a lasting agreement. Ukraine's Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha has also said he sees no clear indication that Russia is ready for serious negotiations.
We conducted 2 rounds in Abu Dhabi in trilateral format. We are advancing and we are thankful to our American friends because without Trump it is unrealistic to end this war. But in parallel, we need to continue pressure on Russia. And we still have instruments, we must admit this leverage. And I agree with this assessment, no signs of willingness from Russian side for serious negotiations.
Meanwhile, French President Emmanuel Macron said that once the conflict is resolved, Europe will need to establish a new framework for coexisting with Russia to prevent future military escalation.
If we reach a settlement on Ukraine, we will still have to contend with an aggressive Russia, with a defensive industry on a sugar high and a bloated army. We will have to define rules of coexistence that limit the risk of escalation beyond current work on separation of forces after a future ceasefire.
On the other hand, Zelensky held a series of bilateral meetings with European leaders at Munich, including German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. The talks focused on joint weapons production and diplomatic cooperation, with Zelensky thanking Germany for its continued support, particularly in supplying air defense systems. He also met with Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen and Norwegian Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Store, discussing financial assistance, European integration, missile supplies for Ukraine's NASAMS air defense system, and energy support. And during meetings under the Berlin format, Zelensky also conferred with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, Finnish President Alexander Stubb, Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson, and European Council President Antonio Costa. Zelensky described discussions with international leaders as productive, saying significant progress had been made in coordinating efforts to increase pressure on Russia and strengthen Ukraine's defense.
Separately, we will work on missiles for air defense. We will also work on several other things to strengthen our military packages. Both our diplomats and military advisors are working on this now. In the 10 to 11 days leading up to February 24th, we want, and all our partners have agreed, to produce the most substantial support packages for Ukraine.
Even as diplomatic efforts continue, the war's human toll remains stark. In the Kharkiv region, mourners gathered to bury a father and his 3 children killed in a Russian drone strike on the town of Bohodukiv.